This is the moderator, Sergi Serp. I've promoted you to a panelist. We'll do a quick mic check and video check if you're ready.
Yep, this is Sergi Supran.
Thank you. We can hear you.
So moderator, I think short of two panelists, should we get going?
Yes, we can get going.
Okay. Morning, my name is Mark Ice. I'm the new Senior Quality Engineer for the Hardware Certification in Schools Group. And Mill recently retired, who you all know, and Corey Jang, who you also all know, has moved on to another state agency. So I'm fairly new to this position, so I'll be relying on my teammates to fill in a few blanks for me today. We will have some open positions in the group that we'll be filling. So I'm excited about that. We'll have some new material and be upgrading and updating all of our training material. Moderator, do you want to do some opening comments, housekeeping rules?
Thank you. This is the moderator. Before we get started with the meeting, I just wanted to provide a reminder to panelists to please mute your microphones when you're not speaking. If any background noise is detected during the meeting as a result of unmuted microphones, a brief reminder will be provided, or microphone will simply be muted as to not interrupt the meeting. There are members of the public in the audience and meeting minutes are being taken, so I recommend that panelists identify themselves before speaking. To facilitate public comment, we will be utilizing the WebEx question and answer feature. When the meeting reaches a point in the agenda at which public comment will be requested, at the Bureau's direction, I will turn on and announce the opening of the Q&A. Members of the public can indicate that they would like to make a comment by clicking on the icon with a question mark within a square that's located at the bottom right corner of the WebEx screen. The instructions will be on the screen each time public comment is requested. In the Ask field, typically in the lower right of the WebEx screen, members of the public who wish to make a comment will type, "I would like to make a comment," and send it to all the panelists. The comments or the request for public comment will be taken in the order that they are received. I, the moderator, will call on the member of the public and announce that their microphone is being unmuted. And if any attendees utilize any profane names, or when they're called upon, they use profane language, we will mute them to avoid the members of the public being subjected to profane language. And the hand raising feature is activated and on for the panelists who would like to use them to be addressed. And I will be calling on the raised hands and Mark will be addressing them. Thank you. I'll pass it back to you, Mark.
Thank you. All right, next slide, please.
This is the moderator. Co-moderator?
And go ahead and do the next slide, please.
We're on that. Thank you. Give just a second.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mark.
Yes.
Would you be so kind as to tilt your laptop screen or your camera so we don't see your fan in the background?
You don't like my fan, do you?
Do not like your fan. Thank you. Appreciate that very much.
Okay, I think we've done introductions. Joining me today from VAR is our Managing Engineer, Gary Torgerson, and we have Janelle, who you all know, and Sergi Supran, who most of you might know. He's with the group also. Next slide. Janelle, do we have minutes to share?
Yes, I do. I will go ahead and share those to the screen.
Okay.
So that everyone can review them as I'm reading them aloud. Moderator, once you give access to share screen, I will go ahead and do that. right. These are the meeting minutes from our last meeting, which was held on December 6th, 2019. We did have a motion from the meeting from Kevin Rogers that the minutes from the prior meeting in December 8th, 2018 be adopted with no changes. The vote was unanimous and the motion was carried. There were discussion items. Ed Van Mill brought up the meeting to order, instructions and roll call. We reviewed the prior meeting minutes. Corey Jang, our former bar engineer, gave a presentation on the most recent changes to the California Automotive Resource Center website and the smog check program. This included incorrect student information that was being entered into the Cal ARC. The bar licensing exam pass rates was discussed. Current pass rate on both inspector and repair exams were around 42%. Current pass rates on the new brake and lamp exams were lower than the old exams. Ed said this was due to the old exam being used for so long, as well as the new exams incorporating questions relating to the newer braking and lighting technologies and systems that were used in today's vehicles. Bud Rice also just suggested that the actual number of candidates that take the exam and pass the exam be included for future meetings when this subject is presented. Denise Cunningham gave a presentation on our Cars for Schools program. Bud Rice asked if the vehicles had to be returned in the same condition if they were received. Denise had reported that the tires, wheels, radio, and battery, which the vehicle dismantler can take off of the vehicle and sell the rest of the vehicle, the value is then scrapped for metal, so the vehicle does not have to be running when it's returned. For example, a vehicle can be sectioned just as long as the section parts are returned for the weight of the scrap metal. Harry Hausman, panel member, had suggested that rather than send the vehicle through BAR for specific vehicle, that there should be an online vehicle search so that the schools can search for specific vehicles like they do on Craigslist between the dismantlers and the school. Denise responded that for now, going through BAR is necessary since the program has just started. Ed had talked about the repair technician occupational analysis that was being started back then, and that the analysis was necessary to develop the new repair technician licensing exams. Ed had also mentioned that BAR was actively seeking subject matter experts, which are SMEs, for the development of licensing examinations, update training course evaluations, as well as to serve in the panel that approves BAR certified instructors. We had a couple public comments. Charlie Peters had suggested, in addition to the smog check program, a requirement that inspectors must enter the vehicle's engine family into the ECS label when performing a smog check inspection. He also suggested, in addition of alerting a smog inspector, if a vehicle that is being inspected has failed a previous smog inspection and what the cause of the failure. Kevin from the panel, also mentioned that there is a shortage of qualified, certified instructors, and that he is working with the Chancellor's office to establish guidelines to get promising students that want to be vocational instructors that have their AA or AS degree as a minimum. Then in the Sacramento area, the students can go to Sac State to finish their vocational education and earn their Bachelor's of Arts degree. Bud Rice said he sent a draft Educational Advisory Group mission statement after the last meeting to BAR. He will find the email and resend the information to all members, which we received, and BAR for input for suggestions to finalize. Bill Fournier, also a panel member, wanted to know what regulation, wanted to know where in regulation the lecture only class must be taught by a BAR certified training facility. Bud Rice suggested that the EAG meet sooner than we have been, approximately every 6 months. Every 4 months in between was suggested with no opposition from all the members. And the meeting was adjourned at 2:22 p.m. Adoption of those minutes. I need a motion and a second, please.
I move we accept the minutes as read. That's Kevin.
Excuse me,
Thank you,
Kevin, I'm sorry. It looks like we got a misspelled word there. Yeah, I'm not sure that that's relevant, but Phil Fournier also wanted to know where in regulations a lecture-only class must be taught at a bar certified training facility. It says were, and there we go, fixed.
Got
Thank
it. I got that.
you. And second the motion.
Okay,
Excellent, thank you.
second, thank you, Phil. And I will pass it back to the moderator so that we can go to the next slide. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we have been spending a lot of time on a new regulation packages for school and instructors, certified schools and instructors. We're modernizing it quite a bit. It was a little antiquated, and then we're putting some measures in there so that we have a bit of a little more control to a certain degree over some schools. Janelle, there's also some new training requirements in there.
Yes. So for the training requirements, what we wanted to get a discussion from the panel was, we have a pending regulation that we are wanting to include in this package for training. As it stands right now with training, anybody that has an inspector license is required to complete 4 hours of our online inspector update training, which is a free course that's published on the bar website. Basically, they take that every 2 years. And then as a repair technician, it's required that they complete 16 hours of diagnosis and repair training. That is usually done at a school, a bar certified school. If you have a combo license, so if you hold inspector and repair, you can complete 12 hours of repair technician in addition to the 4 hours of inspector online training, giving you the full 16 hours. For schools and instructors, bar certified instructors, we have discussions that we would like to include that all active instructors to stay active, that you will hold 16 hours of update training for both the inspector and the repair technician, meaning the 4 hours for the inspector and the 12 hours for the repair technician. And in addition, we want you to come to the summer update that bar normally puts on for instructors. We did want to gather some discussion from the panel on this, so we can go ahead and open that now.
And these are still draft regulations, so there will be open comment period at some point in the future as usual.
Kevin Rogers, it sounds like you're doing, you said the same thing twice. You said that instructors need to do 12 hours of update training, bar update training. Additionally, then also do the provided bar update training. So it's almost like you're saying an instructor has to go take another class from a certified instructor, is what your regulations just said. A lot of us do a lot of different type of update instruction through manufacturers, through seminars. Most of us who are instructors who are at it was NATEF, now an ASE certified facility, we have to do 20 hours a year of update training. So I don't know if you want to just say bar update training in that.
Phil Fournier here. I share Kevin Rogers' concerns. I agree that instructors need instruction and need update training. However, those of us, well, I'm kind of in limbo right now. But those of us that are actively working in the field have training requirements by our respective employers. I work for, as Kevin does, an ASE certified training institution, and I have to provide proof of update training, but it's not one of the 50 courses that are approved by the bar. What I would prefer that was edited so as to give us more flexibility on the update training, that would widen the window so that we were not limited to taking the bar authorized courses. Because what that would mean was going to listen to our fellow instructors teach, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but just from where I'm sitting, just to put you in my shoes, I've spent the last 15 months listening to my fellow instructors teach for the company that I work for. And it was instructive for the first couple of times. It is now absolute tedium to listen to somebody else teach a course that I teach over and over and over again. I despise it. So much so I'm ready to quit. But I second Kevin Rogers' concern that if you're going to ask us to study under our fellow instructors, realize that we're not going to gain a whole lot of benefit, because these are courses that we teach ourselves, and it's not easy to listen to somebody else teach something that you teach, and unfortunately often have the sense that you could do a better job than the person who's on the other end of the line. That's the thing that's just so exasperating to me. I got to do it tonight. I got 4 hours of hearing somebody teach network, and he's a good guy, but I'm just there to answer questions, and I'll tell you, it's very difficult for me. So if we can somehow edit that would certainly be something I would suggest. Is that what you were after, Kevin? Did I understand your point?
Kevin says yes. Okay, thank you.
Hi, this is Ruben Parra with Skyline College.
Hmm?
I got a comment and/or question. Janelle, were you indicating the training from BAR be the specific update training, and are you? What I'm understanding is maybe that the BAR wants us to listen in on maybe new changes or regulations or something specific to training. If that's the case, then that's a whole other ballgame, right? Because that's the bureau or the bar wanting us to be familiar with any kind of changes or training specifications that are going on with the BAR, and not necessarily going up to do update training from another instructor. Could I get some more clarification on that? I don't know that the whole purpose of it is just to take a 16-hour class as I'm going to take for my smog license, right? Because I have to have a smog license. I'm already getting my 16 hours. So in that case, then going to another update class would not make sense. But going to the BAR update, instructor update would, right? Could you clarify that for us, please?
Yes, so the point isn't to sit in on another instructor's class. However, that would be an option. We definitely don't want any self-certifying or you certifying your friend kind of thing. For the active instructors, we do realize many of the community colleges, you're required to go through certain NATEF hours. I believe it's a minimum of 20. And so as for the bar instructors, we do take credit if it's NATEF hours from those certifications. That is something that you would submit your certification from those trainings directly to the hardware certification and schools unit via email for consideration, so that we can credit those hours one for one. So basically, if you take outside training, we can give you consideration for those as long as they relate to the smog check program. We do realize that there are some instructors that do not work for a public institution, and so they also have the chance to take those NATEF hours as well for credit that they can submit for one hour credit. in lieu of also taking another peer members course. So the discussion to add is basically, as an instructor, we want you guys to, you're kind of held to a little bit of a higher standard because you are a bar certified instructor, whereas a regular technician, they are going to your classes and they're sitting in at least, 2 days of training from you, whereas the bar certified instructor update that we've provided in the past to our certified instructors, we've given you guys 8 hours of credit, but a lot of that is bar update, which we will continue with a little bit of peer tech training that we get to mix in. Now, the tech training is not always geared. We had feedback on the last time we did the instructor update. Some of the instructors said, hey, this technical training is not geared towards my profession at all. They didn't prefer it. So you actually would have more of a choice this way by, taking your NATEF training. Hope that clarifies it a little better for you, Ruben.
We would still need to take the bar, the specific instructor update training, correct?
Yes.
The one that you have provided, you will continue to provide that for us.
Yes.
Okay.
So as of right now, we provide the certified instructor update training every other year. It has happened that we normally do it in the summer. With COVID, we pushed it back until October of last year. In order to attend that training in the past, you would have had to have taught a course within the last year to stay an active instructor. We have over 350 instructors, bar certified instructors that hold that title. Honestly, I would say there's about 120 of the instructors that are currently teaching. So it's one thing to hold the bar certified instructor title. It's another thing to be an active bar certified instructor. So we do open that course up to the active instructors, as well as any subject matter experts that are serving for bar, so that they can take that training, and it's been a no fee to attend that.
Yeah, this is Garrett Torgerson with Bar Engineering. I think we hear what you're saying, and our intent with this, not all schools are created equally and not all instructors are created equally. People that are on this committee, you've been selected for this committee because you tend to be aggressively seeking out new information and improving in your profession. That is not true across the board. And so what we want to do is ensure that the people that are certified instructors have the training necessary to be, worthwhile teachers in the industry. And for people like yourselves that are doing that on your own, we don't want to get in your way. For others who are failing to do that, it's just something they hang on their wall, or they're not really interested in the craft of teaching. We want to, make sure that they have what's necessary to do that properly. So that's the intent of this portion of the regulation. And we will review your comments and, make sure that we've crafted the regulatory language to do what we're trying to do, which is not, like I said, get in your way, but ensuring others are properly equipped. So.
Thank you, Garrett. Panel members, anything else on this? Okay, Janelle, anything else?
Nope, we can go ahead, moderator, if you want to move to the next agenda item. All right, so that's me again. With our recent changes, we have had in our unit, we had my former supervisor, Ed Van Mill, he retired, and Mark Isaacs became my new supervisor. We also did a reorganization within our engineering group, which we have changed our name from the Standards and Training Unit. We are now the Hardware Certification and Schools Unit. And so with that, we had to update our public forms, which included our school and our instructor application forms. So these forms moving forward, we are requiring that both school renewal and instructor renewal will be using these. There's a box for renewal, as well as initial school and instructors that do decide to apply as well. Let me go ahead and show these 1 second. Moderator, can you go ahead and give me access to that? All right, so we have on the screen right now is I'm sorry, we're actually going to back up here because I know there was public comment and we had missed that for the last item. So moderator, excuse me, if we can go ahead and go back to number 3. I know there were some attendees that were waiting in the queue for public comment on the regulation.
Yes, this is the moderator. Thank you. I've opened up the Q&A. We'll have the instructions on the screen in just a moment.
Thank you.
Members of the public, if you would like to participate, click on the Q&A icon located at the bottom right corner of your WebEx screen and type, "I would like to make a comment," and send it to all panelists. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to give the presenter role back to co-moderator to display those instructions. Okay, there are the instructions are on the screen for your reference. That Q&A icon at the bottom right corner of your WebEx screen. Type, "I would like to make a comment," and send it to all panelists. That's if you have a comment regarding the previous agenda item. And I did notice previously a member of the public had their hand up. If you are able to submit the request, or if you would like to raise your hand again, we will call on you.
Steve Caruso, did you have a question or comment?
I think he left for some reason. I don't see his name on the participants.
The
Okay.
name is in, this is the moderator. The name is in the attendee list. It's in the participants. If you're interested in Mr. Caruso, please raise your hand. We will address you. Other than that, I see no other requests. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please.
Thank you. And no hands are up. I'll give the presenter role back to Janelle.
All right, sorry about that, Janelle. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. I had missed that. I'm going to screen share back again. All right, here. So with our change to our name, we updated our forms for both the school and the instructor application. So these were both updated January of 2021. And like I said, they will be used for both initial applicants and for those that are renewing moving forward. For the certified instructors, you guys will renew the same time that you renew your SMOG inspector and repair license. So it's the month of your birth date. That way that you can just renew everything all at once. For the certified institutions, for the public institutions, you guys have all been renewed until the end of June, which is this month. So you guys will be completing the new certified training institution form here that I show, and you will be submitting those for the private institutions or post-secondary institutions. You will be completing the certified training institution application when your Bureau of private post-secondary education exemption or approval needs to be renewed. So that's every 2 years. So I'm going to go ahead and show those forms. The links are here. They are also located on our BAR website under the forms column for you to find. In addition, for the instructors, we have also placed this on the California Automotive Resource Center website under the Instructor Resources tab. I'm just going to open it just so you can get a view of what the application looks like. So here we have our new name at the top, Hardware Certification and Schools Unit. It looks similar to the smog inspector and repair applications. Instructions are there, basic instructions. And then on the second page, for this one, it has about a couple pages of instructions and why we're collecting the information. And then once you finally get all past that, it'll open up the actual application. New institutions, you'll check that box. Renewal institutions, you'll check that box and list your institution number, the 991234 number, whatever that is that's been assigned to you. And then you'll complete it, all the information here. And then when you're completed, these get emailed to our hardware certification and schools unit. The email address is on the application so that they can be processed within a timely manner so that you can get your electronic certificate back for the school. That was the instructor, and then this one is the institution application. Same thing. The only change is it basically says training institution. The only difference is for the institutions, they will be listing all of their instructors on here, all their current instructors that teach at that institution. And if you're a private post-secondary school, you will also be attaching proof of your exemption or approval to operate notice with your application that you submit via this email, the BAR hardware certification and schools unit at dca.ca.gov. Moderator, I'll go ahead and give the screen back to you and you can open up for public comment.
Do the panelists have any comments? Questions?
One comment in your instructions for the instructors who are filling this out. Does it definitely say only to email it? If not, people are going to start mailing it in via snail mail because you've got both your addresses on that form. You've got your snail mail address and your email address. If you want an email, you better put it in the instructions or you're going to also be getting it snail mail.
Kevin, that's a good question. We do take them by snail mail and email. Email now in the modern days does work a little bit faster. So that is a point. I can go ahead and take that. If it is emailed, when we send these out to our instructors, we will let them know that if they do choose to email it, that they condense everything into a PDF document and then they email to the hardware certification and schools unit. If they mail it, snail mail it, you're basically including all that document and you're sending it to the address that's listed on the form.
So we'll clarify that. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Bud Rice here with Quality Tune-Up. I did have a quick question. You were saying that the institution will get back their certification once they've got all their clearances done. Is the ARC also updated? The resource center? I don't know if it's still called ARC or not, but is the resource center updated as well at the time when these certifications are executed and sent back to the facilities?
Bud, that's a great question. Yes, when the schools and the instructors' applications come in, part of the process that the hardware certification team is doing is basically reviewing all the background documents they've submitted to make sure they're current, in addition to instructor ASCs and license to make sure those are current. And then we are updating the California ARC with the new expiration date of the certification. Great question.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else from the panelists? Okay, moderator, are there any public comments or questions?
Thank you. This is the moderator. I've opened up the Q&A. Members of the public, if you would like to participate, the instructions are on the screen. Click on that Q&A icon located at the bottom right corner of your WebEx screen and type, "I would like to make a comment," and send it to all panelists. And Mark, I see no request for public comment. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
And next slide. Okay, this is something that has popped up recently due to COVID, obviously, and a lot of schools having to shut down and not being on campus, instructors not being on campus or using any of the bar certified hardware. We have had some calls recently, some of them last minute, like Friday night at 8 o'clock for a Saturday morning class to get their bar 97 set up properly and aligned with the system. So basically, I'm encouraging folks that are returning to campus to reach out to the bar staff, and we will get you set up with your OIS and your bar 97. Please give us plenty of time, because some of these analyzers and OIS devices are so far behind in their updates that it takes a few extra steps to get them going. So we're here to help you. Just give us plenty of notice when you're ready to be back on campus and use the equipment. Panel members, any questions or comments on that? Okay, hearing none. Any public comments?
This is the moderator. I've opened up the Q&A. Members of the public, the instructions are on the screen. Just click on that Q&A icon, type, "I would like to make a comment," and send it to all panelists. Mark, no requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, back to me. So I just have some quick updates for the bar licensing examination. Currently, our repair technician pass rate is at 41%. Our inspector pass rate has gone up. It is now at 52%. And our brake and lamp passing rates have not changed. We have not gotten those, so I can clarify those. But those were the passing examination pass rates, and I don't know if there's any comments from the panel members, or we want to open those up right now.
All right, let's go ahead and jump to public comment.
This is the moderator. I'm opening up the Q&A. Members of the public, instructions are on the screen. Just click on that Q&A icon, type, "I would like to make a comment," and send it to all panelists. No requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please. And Janelle, thank you for that update.
Mark, can I
Yes.
could I ask you, make a quick comment?
Absolutely.
Bud Rice Quality Tune-Up. Those percentages of 41% and 52%, and I understand this is an unfair question, but what should they be? I mean, shouldn't we be aspiring to do, I don't know, 75%, 74%, something. I'm just, we're taking those numbers and as factual, which I'm sure that they are, but that shouldn't be good enough for us. We should be trying to aspire to do better than that. And I'm wondering what we can do as a group, or what we can do as an industry to try to try to enhance those numbers. Because really,
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I don't think we want to lower the bar on a wholesale basis. So you do raise a good question. Why don't we have a higher passing rate? But I don't think the answer is lowering the bar.
I know, and I'm not saying that. I'm saying we got to figure out how to inspire those that are in play to do better. And I don't know if that means that different kinds of resources, maybe different kinds of video training or some kind of reference material that might be better, or I'm not sure what it is. All I'm saying is that I think better scores might mean better text, and that we got to figure out maybe to aspire to do better at getting the technicians to perform better. That's
Yeah,
all.
and we certainly agree with you, and that is part of what we discuss in our reg writing sessions. Is we do want to. That's part of what we're doing in those regulations, is to improve the institutions by holding them to a higher standard, and hopefully that will result in better text and a higher pass rate. Because some folks are just skating through and mailing it in, and then they have the low pass rate. Then they fall in that low pass rate.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
This is the
Yeah, I mean,
moderator.
part of what we're dealing with is exactly what we talked about before, is that not all schools and instructors have the same goals when they come into the program. And so there's a lot of effort that goes into, to generating the exams, and also figuring out where the pass points are and which questions are legitimate and which questions are, potentially a little bit tricky, and it may fool inspectors when they're trying to, or future inspectors from when they're trying to take it. So that's really where the technology is coming in the exam development process. Where the scores fall once that has been set appropriately, it's a bit of an indication of the status of the industry, and we are trying, as Mark indicated, we're trying to improve that. And as things get better, I mean, we do have some things we'd like to do in the future to help encourage, incentivize better performance of some of the schools that are kind of falling behind. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, even on the educational side, for trying to increase the amount, some of the lower performing instructors, the strength of their game to bring into this process. So that's the scores. Unfortunately, it sounds low, but that's where we are right now. And so that's, I don't know what else to say about that, but thanks for coming, bud.
Yeah, absolutely. Bill, you have a comment as well?
Yes, thank you. I imagine, though, you don't necessarily need to publish this, but I'm thinking that you probably have some sort of a database indicating which students at which schools are scoring poorly in order to more appropriately target the difficulty. Another thing occurs to me is that there is some participation in the attempt to get a smog inspector or repair license without going through other training. That is, workers get pulled out of other industries, tempted perhaps by a hopefully higher salary, and they're really not well equipped previously to be in the automotive repair industry. I'm guessing that a working technician who decides he wants to become a bar inspector and has been actively doing diagnosis and repair, say for check engine lights and other types of drivability diagnosis, his pass rate should be far higher than 42%. That would be atrocious if that were the case. So I don't know how you break down those scores by people or by schools. And Garrett, you're the numbers guy. You could probably give us some enlightenment on that. But I think that the number has to be taken in light of who it is that's trying to get the license, and that from where I'm sitting is going to make a huge difference in the pass rate.
Yeah, we agree with you, Phil. So one of our long-term goals is to do exactly what you're saying, which is publish passing scores for various schools. One of the obstacles that we've been facing in getting to that point is that we haven't been able to track particularly well when people were getting trained at certain institutions, because before they're licensed, they might have multiple IDs that we're trying to track them to these schools under. We're cleaning that process up. In fact, we've mostly cleaned it up at this point. And so we're at the cusp of being able to do that type of an analysis and have it be a meaningful result. And that's longer term. That's part of what we want to do, is to incentivize better, instructors, better schools, is by allowing people to see, hey, if I go to this school, I'm more likely to pass an examination. I don't know when that's going to be in place, but that our eye is on that target.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Garrett. Panel members, anything else on this?
In addition, the passing score, just to clarify those passing rates, that's just the population of how many people that are taking the examination and passing it on the first try. The passing score itself is not that low. For the repair technician exam, our passing score is a 72%, and our inspector exam, it's a 70%. So when you look at those numbers, that's the minimally competent, as we use in our examination development terms. That's the minimum score that an applicant can take to pass the examination.
Okay. Any public comment or questions?
This is the moderator. I'm going to open it up for a Q&A. The Q&A for public comment. Members of the public, if you would like to participate, click on the Q&A icon located at the bottom right corner of your WebEx screen and type, "I would like to make a comment," and send it to all panelists. You can also raise your hand. I did see a member of the public who had their hand up earlier during this conversation, this discussion. I'm going to pause for a moment to allow members of the public time to access the Q&A feature. No requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving quite along here. So next item on the agenda is the repair technician occupational analysis. When we had previously met in 2019, we were kind of in the middle of starting the repair technician occupational analysis. I can gladly say we have completed that analysis. We actually completed it earlier this year, despite the obstacles with COVID. With our Office of Professional Examination Services unit, our team, BAR has been able to hold workshops with our subject matter experts in the industry, that we have held those virtually over Zoom and Microsoft Teams to complete 3 sessions of item writing. During item writing, the subject matter experts are writing questions that they believe are current to the industry, so that these questions can be reviewed by other subject matter experts that are in industry. Their criteria, they're developed using all industry approved criteria, and they're rated on a score so that they can be placed on our examination for all of our smog check exams and break and lamp. For the repair technician occupational analysis, we completed. I have a document that I can moderate. If you give me the share access, I can bring that up on my screen. All right.
Okay, we can see that. Oops.
All right, so this document is pretty lengthy. It is 95 pages long. This is all of our work that we put in. Every 5 years, we are required by law to do an occupational analysis of the profession for our smog check programs. So we basically rotate doing the inspector, then we move on to the repair technician, then we do the break A, B, C, and then we also do the lamp. So our unit is constantly involved with subject matter experts from industry on recruiting them and having them participate in these workshops. It feels like we live at the Office of Professional Examination Services as a second home. But the feedback that we get from the SMEs from industry is highly valuable in writing these examinations for technicians or inspectors that come into the field. Just an overview of what this document covers. Go ahead and scroll down. So we completed it in March 2021. These are our contacts that we have worked with at our Office of Professional Examination Services. And the document, which goes out to the survey, which we mail out to all licensees for whichever occupational analysis we're doing, is included in here. So just a summary of what the document is the Bureau of Automotive Repair has requested that the Consumer Affairs Office of Professional Examination Services conduct an occupational analysis of the smog check repair technician profession in the state of California. The purpose of the occupational analysis is to define the practice for smog check repair technicians in terms of tasks that entry-level smog check repair technicians must be able to perform competently at the time of their licensure. The results of the occupational analysis provide the basis of developing a valid and legally defensible smog check repair technician licensure examination specific to California. How it was conducted, the Office of Professional Examination Services, they have test specialists. They began researching the profession, which basically our experts got together during workshops, and we put together day-to-day things that an inspector or a repair technician would be doing. And they're conducting telephone inquiries, interviews with licensed smog technicians working in different counties throughout California. The purpose of the interviews was to identify the tasks performed by the repair technicians, to determine the knowledge required to perform those tasks in a safe and competent manner. Using the information gathered from the research and all the interviews, the Office of Professional Examination Services test specialists developed a primary list of tasks performed by smog check repair technicians in their profession, along with the statements representing the knowledge needed to perform those tasks. We held workshops to review the list of tasks and knowledge statements derived from the telephone interviews. The workshop comprised of licensed check repair technicians known as subject matter experts with diverse backgrounds in the profession. So some of them may have had 1 year of experience, some of them may have 5, 10, 15, so on. In addition, their location, we gathered subject matter experts from up north, central, and Southern California, so that we had a good basis of all technicians throughout the state. The SMEs were identified changes and trends in the smog check repair technician profession, and they performed a preliminary linkage of the task and knowledge statements to ensure that all tasks had a related knowledge statement and that all knowledge statements had a related task. The additional task and knowledge statements were created as needed to complete the description of the profession. In addition, the SMEs also reviewed the demographic questions for use on the Occupational Analysis Questionnaire. Upon completion of the workshops, the Office of Professional Examination Services test specialists developed a 3-part occupational analysis questionnaire. That questionnaire was distributed to all repair technicians statewide via mail. Development of the questionnaire included a pilot study that was conducted and the participation of smog check repair technicians. Some of them participate in the August 2020 workshop. So what that means is, in addition, the SMEs that participated, they also were part of this pilot. The pilot study included participants' feedback, and it was incorporated into the final questionnaire, which was administered in December 2020. In the first part of the questionnaire, smog check repair technicians were asked to provide a demographic information related to the profession and their work settings. In the second part, smog check repair technicians were asked to rate and perform each task in their current practice. So they had a frequency of 1 to 5, 1 being something they do all the time, 1 being something they hardly do, 5 being something that they do all the time, day to day. And how important the task is to effectively perform of their current practice. So their frequency was the first one, and the second one is their importance of the task. Same thing on a scale of 1 being least important to 5 being most important. In the third part, smog check repair technicians were asked to rate the importance of each knowledge statement to its effective performance of their current practice. Just continuing, in December 2020, we dispersed that out to the entire population of smog check repair technicians that had a registered address in the state of California. We mailed out a total of 6,767 smog check repair technician letters that had invited them to complete the occupational analysis questionnaire online. The Bureau also sent a postcard 2 weeks later to all those technicians again to remind them to complete the survey online. A total of 1,092 smog check repair technicians, roughly 16.1% of the 6,767 repair technicians that were invited to participate responded by accessing the online questionnaire. The final sample size included in the data analysis was 885, or roughly 13.1% of the population that was invited to complete the questionnaire. The response rate reflects 2 adjustments. First, the Office of Professional Examination Services excluded the data from respondents who indicated they were not currently licensed and they were not working as smog check repair technicians in the state of California. Second, the Office of Professional Examination Services also excluded the questionnaires that contained a lot of missing data. The demographic composition of the final respondent sample appears to represent of the smog check repair technician in the state of California. The Office of Professional Examination Service test specialists, they performed the data analysis on the task and knowledge ratings that were obtained from the questionnaire results. The task importance and frequency ratings were multiplied to determine an overall criteria index for each task statement. The mean importance ratings were also used as the critically indexed for each knowledge statement. Once the data was analyzed, the Office of Professional Examination Services conducted an additional workshop with smog check repair technicians in January of 2021. The SMEs evaluated the critically indices and determined whether any task or knowledge statements should be eliminated. The SMEs in this group also established the final linkage between the task and knowledge statements. They made minor changes and additions to the task and knowledge statements. They reviewed task and knowledge statement content areas and reviewed the definitions for those content areas. The SMEs then evaluated, adjusted, and confirmed the content area weights for the new examination outline. The new examination outline is structured into 3 content areas. Each content area is weighted based upon important relative to the other content areas, as determined by the subject matter experts in the January 2021 workshop. The new outline provides a description of the scope of practice for smog check repair technicians, and it also identifies the task and knowledges critical to be competent smog check repair technician practice in California at the time of licensure. The examination outline, developed as a result of this occupational analysis, provides a basis for developing a written examination for the smog check repair technician licensure. At this time, California licensure as a smog check repair technician is granted by meeting the education requirements and passing the smog check repair technician licensing examination.
Okay. Yeah, Janelle's not kidding. We've been working a lot with OPS, and she spends too many weekends over there trying to keep everything relevant. Any questions or comments from our panelists? Okay, let's see if there's any public comment.
This is the moderator. I'm opening up the Q&A, and we'll have instructions on the screen shortly. Members of the public, if you would like to participate, click on the Q&A icon located at the bottom right corner of your WebEx screen and type "I would like to make a comment" and send it to all panelists. No requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so all of that stuff that Janelle just covered is so exciting. We need to get some new folks involved here. We need subject matter experts. We have been asking for them. There's a bit of a campaign that we're doing to recruit subject matter experts. I believe it was brought up at the last BAG meeting. So if you folks know of any students or technicians that would like to become subject matter experts, they will get paid a small amount, a stipend, and we cover their travel. And because of COVID, we have been forced to do things virtually, which we are adapting to, working with OPS. And it's actually working out quite well. And I think that that's going to help us if we can continue doing some of these things virtually. We have an in-person workshop this weekend to do passing scores. That always has to be done in person, from what I've been told. But the item writing workshops, I think we may be able to do those virtually, so that will allow us to get folks to be subject matter experts and not take a big hit on their paycheck, because we certainly don't pay as well as they probably make in their day job. Panel members, any comment or questions on this? Okay, let's see if there's any public comment.
This is the moderator. Members of the public, if you would like to participate, click on the Q&A icon, type "I would like to make a comment" and send it to all panelists. No requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that I believe exhausts our agenda. I knew it'd be quick. Next time we'll definitely be longer. We'll have a lot more content as we continue to backfill some open positions and update some of our training material. So again, did the panelists have any topics to discuss that were not on the agenda?
Steve Tamori, is he on the line with us today?
Yes, I'm here.
Is this the appropriate time to discuss the matter that you presented yesterday or the day before, or is that at a later point?
Are you talking about the EO and EI license time frame to receive the licenses?
No, I'm talking about the shortage of technicians issue.
Oh, scholarships.
Yeah, yes. If I may, I believe there's some things in the works with the state, or at least some requests to incentivize folks to become technicians and enter the field. Not only as a smog tech, but as a technician, or maybe even a service writer or something in that respect. So we're trying really hard at Rio Hondo, but was wondering, I've been asked by ASCCA to find out if there's anything that the bar maybe knows about, any potential scholarships for internships or anything, money that's available in the state to help curb the costs or help pay for technician training on the job.
Yeah, that's a great question. Sorry, and a great topic. And we have been made aware of a number of grants and scholarships that are available. and we have posted those on our public website, our bar public-facing website, and the CalArc website. I don't think it's there yet, but soon there'll be a link there indicating and discussing the number of scholarships available. So the students that go on CalArc will see that on the homepage.
Yeah, is that on the smog.ca.gov?
Yes, we have it on our public-facing bar website. Yes, and again, we worked with our contractor for the CalArc website, and they will be proposing a splash screen for a homepage for CalArc. So all technicians that access that will see the grants and scholarship opportunities.
Okay, and are any of them specific to, say, assisting shop owners to provide internships?
I don't have that level of detail. I can check.
Okay. And then I was asked by Mr. Craig Johnson, I spoke with him on the phone. I understand he can't make it this early. He's on another call.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted me to bring up a topic of maybe possibly having these, or suggestion of having these meetings on a regular basis, at least maybe twice a year, like we used to have several years ago. And I know because of COVID, there's been issues, but is there a plan or maybe an outlook or, a forecast of when these meetings might be held?
We don't have one set yet, but I totally agree with you. That is part of my goal, is to increase our transparency. Ed, of course, did a great job, and I hope to improve on his legacy. And again, we're building our team out, so we'll have more subject matter experts from BAR on these calls going forward. And yes, I do that.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Mark,
I wonder if I could plug in
I'm sorry.
something.
Go ahead, Phil.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to talk over anyone. That's one of the things I dislike about this type of arrangement.
It's tough.
And some of my personal angst is going to come through here. I do tend to wear my feelings on my sleeve. I think part of our technician recruitment problem is currently associated with the fact that at a basic level, going by my own experience, my dad was a geophysicist. He wanted me to be a scientist. I wanted to use my hands and work on stuff. And that was well before the computer era. But my type of personality that enjoys the hands-on thing, I don't think has changed significantly in spite of the changing technology over the, 1971 was when I started, a long time ago. So what we're doing with this virtual platform is alienating a huge portion of people who otherwise would be interested in this industry. This has got to stop. We have got to go back to hands-on live people in classrooms. And of course, I have a personal interest in that happening because I myself, after 15 months, am very, very weary of trying to convey information to faces I cannot see and eyes that I cannot read. Last October, when we had the update training from our friend there in Riverside, somebody help me out with his name, the gentleman who, it wasn't technical in nature. It was more in the line of quality of teaching. Jonathan Summers, that gave us the instruction. As I listened to what he had to say, so much of the quality of instruction that he talked about had to do with being in the room with the people that you're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
And as a testimonial, I spent 4 weeks as a salesperson because my company doesn't know what to do with me. I'm not a salesperson, but they didn't have anything else to do, and they're paying me. So, but I also experienced the feedback from the industry about the virtual instruction that we as a company, Standard Motor Products, have been offering. The attendance has been dropping consistently, and the impact in the field is, and this is a quote from a large fleet with about 5 technicians. The supervisor was pitched with a virtual air conditioning class. He shook his head. He said, when you go back to live instruction, I will buy season passes, which is essentially 4-hour courses through the course of a year at a discounted price. I'll buy season passes for all of my technicians, but do not ask me about virtual instruction again. I will not buy any of it. That was one example. So we've been pushing this thing for this long, and from where I'm sitting, it's the wrong audience and it's the wrong venue. We got to stop. We got to go back to being in school. We got to go back to having technicians in a room. We got to go back to an instructor who can look in their eyes and pass around his show and tell and talk about the instructional material in a way that he can see that they're benefiting from the instruction. So I'll shut up. It's just a high level of frustration on my part with the substituting for live events with talking to a computer. It is not the same.
Yeah, Phil, I think we all share your concern and totally agree with you. Obviously, our hands were tied, and we have to operate based on federal and state guidelines. But with the lifting of those restrictions, I think we are on the cusp of getting back to live instructions. So BAR will be publishing something on that soon. Thank you for bringing that up. I totally agree with you.
Thank you.
If you don't hold a wrench, you can't point to a wrench and tell them how to use it. Okay, thank you. Any panel members, anything else right now?
Yeah, here, Bud Rice, quality.
Go ahead,
So I wanted to somewhat echo a little bit of what Phil was saying and what Steve was saying. I think back when we were looking at the last minutes, we had talked about what our mission statement was, and we had talked about that kind of a little bit, and then things kind of hit the skids a little bit as the pandemic kind of struck. But this really is some kind of a partnership between BAR and what you're tasked to do, which is to make sure that everyone, that's a level playing field, and that what's going on is good for the customers and good for the businesses as well. Then there's shops, and then there's the instructional team that's out there trying to help generate technicians. But the shortage of technicians is dramatic. And if you were to step back and say, let's just put a ribbon around that segment of the population that's drawn to using their hands, like Phil was saying, and let's just use the term blue collar because that's kind of an old school term. But if you were to say that this huge segment of blue collar workers, where are they going? And they're going everywhere from some in automotive, maybe some in heating and air conditioning, some in maybe equipment repairs that are maybe they're building computers somewhere for somebody. They're in manufacturing, they're in construction, they're all over the place. And what used to be a segment of people that just like working on cars, and that's how they got going, that segment seems to be shrinking to some degree. And I think that there's some push outside that is having an effect on that. You know, as an example, boy, we ought to be driving electric vehicles, and maybe, boy, just think of all the jobs you could have if we all went electric. And so everyone starts listening to that, and they're going, well, geez, if I'm a auto mechanic and am I going to be working on batteries? What does that mean to me? You know, so all of a sudden different questions start coming along. And then people that may have gotten into this industry now start thinking that maybe it's not such a good industry because people don't like us, you know, and regulators are trying to make it so you don't have cars anymore. So my point is, I think that there's a lot of stuff going on here, and we had past discussions, Mark, just to catch you up a little bit, but we've had past discussions about how does the feeder system work. And back in the old days, you might have had, you know, junior high or, you know, intermediate, whatever they're calling it today, but junior high, you might have had some little hands-on stuff where people were working on little motors in class. They'd have a class and they'd be working on these little motor things on their desk. And then you get into high school, they used to have auto shop, they used to have wood shop, they used to have all those things that were part of a trade component. they got rid of all those, right? They got rid of all those. So you can't find very many auto shops anymore. And the ones that you do find are either on life support or they're administered by a set of really caring people that have figured out how to claw and grasp their way to get resources that keep them functioning. Okay, and that's at the high school level. Well, those things were the feeder systems that got you to the JC and the colleges, where in the end, technicians were coming out the other side. Well, now you're getting attacked on both sides. You're getting attacked with an industry, a way of looking at the industry, wondering if that's going to be around. And then you've cut off the trade school angle back on the other side. So we're left with trying to entice people to take a look at us and think about what we do as a way to earn a good living for yourself and to have fun doing it. And so together, and I was saying that, we all kind of play a role here. And I think that there are things that BAR can do, but there's also things that industry has to do. And there's also things that the educators have to do, but we got to figure out how to work together, how to kind of connect ourselves at the hip with each other and see if we can't impact this a little bit in a positive way to try to get the whole focus redone so that we can make a positive impact on what we're doing out there. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, thank you. And a lot of that is out of our hands. I actually live across the street from a new high school, and they have no shop at all. And I think it's a crime. I totally agree. And so that indeed was one of the primary feeders, was folks coming out of auto shop and asking now what, and then go and start making some money at it. So yes, I totally agree. And we are definitely open to working with you folks on how to improve. I don't think we're going to fix it, but we need to improve somehow our feeders and our throughput. Totally agree. Panel members, anything else? And Janelle has reminded me that we do have a date in mind for the next educational advisory group, and that's December 2nd, the first Thursday in December, December 2nd.
This is Steve Tamori.
Yes.
It's really difficult to attend them if they are on a weekday, possibly even on a Saturday. As far as I'm just talking about myself as an instructor.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my plate full during the week, and sometimes it's just hard to cancel class to get on these meetings. So, and I know every school district's different, and everybody has other things going on. I'll try to make it, but thank you for letting me know that date. Say October 11th, correct?
No, I'm sorry, December 2nd. The
Oh,
first
December.
December.
Oh, December 2nd. Okay, well,
Hi,
that's
this
probably
is-
right around finals time for me.
Hi, this
So
is
that's really
Ruben Parra. Also, and were you done, Steve? Were you all done, Steve?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Go ahead,
So I
Ruben.
want to echo Steve's concern. That's I'm also a instructor, and Thursdays I know for a fact are going to be one of the only days that they let us on campus to continue doing hands-on training. That's the reason I was not able to attend the BAR instructor update training. December, as Steve also mentioned, is at the end of the semester. We used to have them on Saturdays, or at some other time. I'm concerned about that time schedule as well. Again, during the week is especially towards the end of the week is when, at this time, that's the only times they're allowing us on campus to do our hands-on. We are still hybrid for the next semester. So you can possibly revisit that scheduling, maybe run a poll or something from the panelists. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, no, point taken. And that is why Janelle spends so many weekends at OAP, because that's the only time we can get some subject matters is on the weekends. So Janelle, let's keep that on the radar and possibly moving this to a Saturday.
Yeah, that's a great idea. For this meeting, we wanted to put the date out there, but it is a tentative date, so it is subject to be changed. I know in the past we've had these on Saturdays and it's worked out. We've always had them where you guys come up to bar. We don't know what's gonna happen in December. Here in a few weeks, the state is supposed to open. I still don't know what that means. Does that
Mhm.
mean we're gonna be gathering? I don't know, and I honestly can't say. This being our first virtual meeting, we're trying it out, and the hope is to have everybody in one room together again. But yeah, we can definitely look at that. If Saturday is something that is feasible, we can pull that out to the committee members and set it. We'd like to stay within the same week. So if possible, if December 2nd is not available, we would move it to December 4th, which is a Saturday. Hopefully that is something that's better for all of you guys.
Okay, thanks, Janelle. Panelists, any other items to bring up right now? Okay, hearing none. Let's please open up to one final public comment period.
This is the moderator. I've opened up the Q&A. Members of the public, if you would like to participate on this item, which is the public comment on items not on the agenda, please click on the Q&A icon located at the bottom right corner of your WebEx screen and type, "I would like to make a comment," and send it to all panelists. The instructions, again, are on the screen for your reference. And I do have an individual identified as Danielle Whitmore. Danielle, I will unmute your microphone now. You have been unmuted.
Thank you. My name is Danielle Whitmore. I'm with California New Car Dealers Association, the Scholarship Foundation. And Steve, I wanted to thank you for bringing up the question about scholarships, because we do have currently an auto technician scholarship that is open now through June 15th. I also want to recognize and applaud the panel's discussion around the need to shore up the feeder schools into in the high schools into the auto tech program. I think there's a lot of work to be done. I'm relatively new to the foundation, but I have been working in education, arts education field in the last 15 years as a nonprofit manager, and I am really excited to be a part of the California New Car Dealers Foundation and help really lift up the value of the auto tech role, and eventually, hopefully, expand our funding of scholarships beyond the auto technician. But there is definitely a need. We have recognized it. We have put funding behind it, and we would love to collaborate at any level we can help out with. Thank you.
Okay, you share your contact information with us?
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
This is the moderator. No further requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and lastly, suggestions for future agenda items. I think we've already brought up several items for future agendas, scholarships, obviously, and how to increase our pool of qualified technicians, obviously.
Is it possible to send suggestions later to Janelle? Just because.
Absolutely, yes.
I can
Please
kind
do.
of think about it a little bit. Yeah.
No, again, I do want to at least continue, if not improve, our transparency, but so please do.
Yeah, and any suggestions can be sent. If there's any suggestion from the public as well as the panel members, any suggestions can be sent to us at BAR. We do ask that you filter it through our BAR hardware certification and schools unit email, which is BAR.H as hardware, C is in certification, S is in schools, and unit is in U at dca.ca.gov. That way anybody from our team can go ahead and pull that email and respond to you in a timely manner.
I'm sorry, Janelle, I was fumbling for a notepad.
That's all right, Phil.
Would you mind repeating that?
Yes, it's BAR, B-A-R, and there's a period in the middle, and it's HCSU for Hardware Certification and Schools Unit, HCSU, at DCA, Department of Consumer Affairs, .ca, California, .gov.
Thank you, Janelle.
Thank you. I've raised this concern multiple times over the course of these various meetings, and I haven't really gained any particular traction, but I'm going to go ahead and repeat what I have in my head, and if I can just have a few minutes recount the efforts that we made, which I assumed came to nothing. As far as certifying courses that are put on by private training institutions like the one that I work for, which in many cases have a very, in my opinion, of course, and I'm biased because I work for them, but a very high level of educational value for working technicians, which we offer to everyone, not simply smog inspectors, obviously, and repair people. The difficulty of turning those into BAR certified options for update training is a pretty steep curve, and I think not only of ourselves but also of other institutions like ATG that's out of San Diego and CTI, WorldPAC. Those are all quality training institutions. The company that I work for, Standard Motor Products, has ASE. We are certified just like Kevin Rogers and others. In fact, we're I think a step ahead because we are the private post-secondary case certification, which is a very difficult standard to meet. However, none of our courses are approved for update training credits. Well, part of the problem is, of course, that we are not based in California. The headquarters is in New York, and the training institution is in Irving, Texas. We attempted to interest UTI because they are a BAR certified training institution for small courses. And I wasn't privy to those discussions per se, but I assume they went nowhere. I guess they were wanting to know what was in it for them. So we were trying to submit our courses for approval based on our association with UTI, and we weren't able to do that. At any case, I'm just thinking that it would be helpful if there was a path somehow. And I realize you don't want to lower the bar, and I'm not asking for that. I want high bars for quality of instruction. But we have some very high quality instruction. We have a class on diesel exhaust systems that is par excellence. And yet nobody can take it for update training because it's not approved. Now, it could be submitted for approval, but once again, we're left with an obstacle that prior to COVID, that course had to be taught at a BAR approved training facility. And that was my question from the December of 2019. What regulation is it that requires that? And if you're in the process of rewriting regulations, it seems to me that it would lessen the difficulty if that particular regulation was modified for courses that are lecture only and are not specifically using the OIS equipment. Because you don't need OIS equipment, for example, to diagnose an exhaust system on a diesel, but they are extremely complex. So there's a lot to be learned and a lot of ignorance out there on troubleshooting properly and doing proper repairs. So that's just a simple example. It's a 4-hour course, but once again, nobody can take that course and get bar credit for it because it's not approved. So I know when this, I was in on some of Ed Van Mill and Rocky Carlisle's meetings way back 10 years ago or more, when they were talking about moving the Rocky's predecessor, Wayne Burnett, used to write the courses, and there was a one size fits all. Everybody had to take the same course every 2 years. And, you know, Ed and others realized that that was probably not appropriate. And so this new thing came out now, you know, 10 or 12 years ago. I'm not sure exactly of the date, but the number of courses that are available is still quite limited. The reason being that it's getting approval is difficult and not necessarily remunerative on the part of the producer of the course. It's a lot of work to turn out a good course that's high quality. So I just submit that again as something to be looked into, because I know there's a lot of good quality instruction out there beyond the scope of the 50 or so courses that are on the approved website. And, you know, I know that community college instructors don't necessarily want to have additional courses added in there, which they cannot teach. I know that Pep Boys, for example, has their own private courses, which nobody else can teach. They're only approved for their instructors in their classroom. I'm just asking that maybe some thought be given to what some technicians are missing out on because of the way, this current way that things are set up. And I know I'm asking for a lot. I'm just trying to think along those lines.
Phil, well, this might be your lucky day. Because we are working on the regulations, I don't think your timing could be better. And yes, the regulations have been stalled in the past, but we're, believe it or not, finally making great traction. We have a meeting later today on the regulations, and trust me, we will be discussing your comment. So that I'm, as you know, new to this, but thank you for bringing it up, and you may get some the traction you've been looking for.
Much obliged. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Phil, Bud Rice, Quality Chin-Up. Have you said you reached out to UTI? Can I ask you what happened? Did you end up speaking with them and then couldn't get somewhere, or did you not connect? What happened with them?
Well, Bud, I can't answer that very well. I was privy to 1 or 2 emails, and I think the way it went, see, we have a sort of a loose partnership with UTI in that their instructors need instruction, and we have very high quality instruction. They're teaching basically entry level, and we teach working technicians. So we, by our very nature, have to have a higher level of instruction. But their instructors need updating. And so the relationship was, prior to COVID, that we could use their facilities to teach our courses to working technicians already in the field. And they, as a benefit to offering their facility, would get their instructors enrolled in our classes for no charge. So that was the relationship that was formed with UTI that was mutually beneficial. The problem with the bar instruction courses seemed to be that their legal department couldn't figure out A, how it was going to benefit them, and B, if there would be some assumed liability. I'm reminded of Henry VIII, you know, first thing we do is kill all the lawyers. Anyway, I think legal threw up roadblocks that absolutely stymied the whole thing. That's my take on it, Bud, but it was 2 pay grades higher than me.
It may not necessarily have been an issue with UTI not wanting to play. It could have been something else that affected that.
Yes, I think it was something of that nature.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Great discussion. Panel members, anything else? Moderator, let's open it up to the public one more time, please, since we've had some great discussion here. See if they have any comments.
This is the moderator. I've opened up the Q&A. Members of the public, the instructions are on the screen. You can type. I will click on the Q&A icon located at the bottom right corner of your WebEx screen and type, I would like to make a comment in the text box and send it to all panelists.
And I see Danielle's question still there. Danielle, hopefully you got the, oh, there's your contact information. Thank you. So we'll reach out to you then.
No requests have been submitted and no hands are up. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please. Okay, I would like to thank all the panel members, of course, and our moderator and our bar team for participating today. You folks are going to get back some of your valuable Thursday time, and we will work on getting out a date for the next meeting. I think I can almost guarantee it will be a Saturday, and maybe even bring it a little bit away from the holidays. So again, thank you everybody for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.